Okay, this is going to be a video comparison between these two iMacs. This one and this one. Because these are the only two iMacs I have. So, start off with dates. This one is a G3 350 Blueberry from about 1999 or so. Maybe early 2000. Not exactly sure when this one was made. This one is a, although it's got a 600 board in it, this is another 350. This is a 350 Indigo from about 2001. There are several differences that set these two machines apart. Number one, the really obvious one is that this one is a Blueberry, and this one is an Indigo. There are several internal problems that I will show you one of them that I will show you once I turn these machines on and really do some in-depth demonstrations here. But this one is in a little bit better condition than this one is. The real showing of that. The only real problems this thing has are the massive amounts of scratching on this plastic. Not really good with housing terminology, but this plastic thing that's hanging over top of it. As compared to this one, which is scratched and dented and scuffed everywhere. This one does have some scratching and scuffing on the front, but not really major. This one had tape here, and my efforts to get it off unfortunately scratched it, even though it isn't visible on the camera. I can't get it to be visible on the camera. You can kind of see it. Not too yeah, you can see it there. My efforts to try and get it off kind of scratched this, which is actually rather unfortunate. And the one real problem here is this big crack right there. It's really the only blemish this one has. That is not the CRT, that's just an internal housing fracture, so. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this one actually has a 600 board in it, a G3 600 board. That was because the original 350 board failed. And it was at that point the hard drive was replaced as well. It was upgraded to a 15 gigabyte Western Digital from a 7 gigabyte. Did I almost say megabyte? I meant gigabyte. A 7 gigabyte, probably a Maxter drive. Both are itty. This one has the original 6 gigabyte Maxter, and this one has a 15 gigabyte Western Digital. But the real difference between this board and the original is that this one has FireWire. Look at that. I actually have a FireWire cable in there right now, so that's why that's like that. Without killing myself over computer bits, there's actually a board down there from an old computer that needs to get thrown away. But, so, now I'll put you on the tripod, and I will do boot up test. Now keep in mind that this is going to be an untimed boot up test, just going to be a comparison, so which one boots up faster. This one is running Mac OS 9.2.2. This one is running Mac OS 10.4.11. So here we go. So obviously the 600 wins that. Probably because it has more memory and it has a bigger, faster processor in it. I'll get into specs in a second. There you go. Now they are both booted. I don't know if you can see it that well. You see that ring around the edge? That shouldn't be there. I'm going to set it back to a factory default. In fact, I'm going to set them both back to factory default. Oh, doesn't have a mouse. I should probably plug one of those in. So I'm going to set it to factory default. I'll do that with both of them. I'm just using a general PC mouse here. Geometry, factory default. You'll see immediately or maybe not, because this camera will not. No, look at that into focus. That it is tilted. And that there is a little bit of curvature in it as well. It hasn't started fading out yet, so that's good. Now let's do the factory default on this. You'll see again, it is tilted, and the curvature is there. But the tilt on this machine is actually worse than this machine. But this CRT overall is in better condition. It's brighter and crisper than this one. You might not be able to see with this camera because the camera doesn't focus, but if I change the focus here, oh look at that, the camera focused. You might be able to see that that is definitely not crystal clear. It is actually a little bit faded, fuzzy, and that's the focus. It's losing focus. This one is not. That's one of the main differences between these two, is that this one actually has a good display. This one does not. Probably because of an analog board problem. That isn't to say that this one should be chucked in the garbage, because it is still somewhat functional. As long as it still works, keep it. In most cases. Both of these came out of the same setting. Out of the same school, actually. Same educational setting. Both of them have probably been used almost 24/7. For about 180 days. Ish. Give or take a few. These things have been known to run overnight. I'm surprised they don't have burn-in, but they don't. There are a few of these that are still left there that have major burn-in. There is severe problems with them, but ignore those machines. They're not in my bedroom right now, so. But, yeah. That's just one of the really big problems that, people with CRT-based machines will face. Is that eventually these CRTs will all fail. And because they don't make parts for them anymore, you're stuck up a creek when they do. Okay, so that's the end of my video, really. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a shutdown test. Here we go. Really close. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. I hope to see you next time. And until then, enjoy your iMacs.